12 new organic signups in 1 month with the style of content that I'm about to teach you in this video. And unlike most mentors, I'm actually going to go through all of it for free on the video and explain it so that you can go away and do one of these posts and get some signups in your business. So one of the coaches that I work with got 12 new signups last month from literally doing this, right? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. This isn't to say that Reels are completely dead, right? There will always be a time and place for Reels on Instagram, but if you want the content that's going to just bang at the moment and do very, very well at the moment, you need to start implementing this, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So everyone's saying it's getting harder to get online clients through Instagram. It is not getting harder. It's just changed as it always does. And again, this is one thing that you will find over the years on Instagram has stayed pretty much in place, and I would be surprised if it didn't keep going further and further towards this style of content. So if you've watched this video and you can watch it for 10 minutes and implement what you learned from this video, you will get way more inquiries. See if you can't sit through 10 minutes. Doesn't say much about you or your business or what you actually want from your business. And it didn't just work with this coach. So she messaged me, hey mate, was thinking, this doesn't happen often, thinking a lot of people reached out to me recently. People I've had convos with, but very limited. So not even people that she's talking to consistently on social media, but they all made mention of the storytelling posts and how much they can relate to them and how they feel like I've built a rapport with them through the posts. This is what you need to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. So I'd like to say thanks, mate, as I know we've worked hard on them over the last few months, and I feel like they now come easily, and I'm speaking to my ideal client without speaking to them, if you get me, right? So in the content, she's speaking to them, not physically having to message loads and loads of people every single day. And again, she did 12 signups, right? This is when she texts me. This is what, the 27th of May. This was the 2nd of June, roughly. That was 11 signups, and she actually managed to get 12, basically over the course of that month, over those 4 weeks. All right, this is one of the other coaches that I work with who had messaged her saying, Greg told me how many clients you pulled in from the storytelling carousels. I spent the night studying, so I've taught her how to do this. I've told him to do it. He's then went onto her page, looked at the way that she does these carousels, and now he's getting clients coming in, right? I posted one yesterday and got a lead from it already. Safe to say it works, so thank you. So this is all the stuff that I've taught these coaches, right? These are the posts that bang. And if you craft these posts properly, they will do better than any piece of content that you are currently posting. I can pretty much guarantee you that, okay? Unlike most business mentors, I still run a multiple six-figure fitness business, right? My goal is to take that business to 7 figures per year without running paid ads, right? That is my goal. Posts like this, building a really good team of people that I really want to have in that business. I've made millions from my online coaching business, and I'm telling you all this shit for free because it makes me happy. Because other people will charge you for this shit. Oh, here's our new way to do, I don't know, before and after pictures. Just do it as a carousel, mate. Tell the story about the client. Obviously, that's going to work better. Do you know what I mean? So, on my fitness page, I've got around 10,000 followers, okay? Now, I keep this, a lot of coaches get caught up in this side tangent here. Your following doesn't matter. Having a small following of the right sort of people is what matters. So, I've got 10,000 followers. I think it's 10,400. Any day I go onto Instagram, let's say I've got 10 new followers coming in, right? I remove any of them who don't have mutual friends who aren't obviously my niche, okay? My niche, if you can't tell, is emergency service workers. I worked for the NHS for 5 years. I was a police officer in Scotland for nearly a decade. And again, this is how one of my reels done recently, right? And these are relatively decent reels. They're scripted, they're with my video editor, the setup's okay. They're not bad reels, right? Now, this isn't me trying to go viral. That is not the purpose of me putting out reels. I would like to go viral with this sort of different top of funnel content that is specific to my niche and my audience, okay? So again, these are slightly further down that funnel of content for people who are already engaged and who are regularly watching my stuff. So that's one of the reels that I've done recently. Now with these style of posts, right, like I know for a fact I could post one of these today and get tens of thousands of views on it. Tens of thousands of engagements with it, right? Profile visits, follows, inquiries, people wanting to reach out to work with myself. This is the stuff that we need to get across, and these are just a few different types of these posts. So this one here was 16.7 thousand views. This one here, 343,000 views. This one here, 11.5. This one here, 73,000, 17,000, and 33,000, right? And these are storytelling carousels. So I'm going to go over how to write these. And these are great for before and afters and client journeys. So as I said, instead of you just posting a before picture and an after picture, do what I'm going to teach you with this kind of formula and talk about your clients' journeys, right? Because people will be so much more bought into it by the end of that rather than a static image and a caption that they probably haven't read. Opinions, these will do well if you structure them properly. And the structure for each should remain pretty much the same, right? So you've got your before and afters from clients, your client journeys. You've got telling your stories, right, which builds a know, like, and trust. Also makes you relatable to people. People like that story. They like to hear about that journey. And then your opinion-based content, okay? The structure for each should pretty much remain the same. We don't need to change these up. Now, the purpose of slide 1, think about this in your reel, right? So again, in a reel, you can have a bottle of juice, you can have some type of visual hook, you can have some type of verbal hook. But again, most people now especially watch stuff on social media with the volume off, right? So your text hook isn't that important, or your audio hook isn't that important. See if you can just make somebody read through one of your posts with a storytelling carousel like this. It's an absolute game changer, right? So, purpose of slide 1 is to grab attention. I'm going to walk you through a full post that I did, right? This is your hook, and it builds curiosity. Make it almost impossible for them to read on. Because there's sometimes I'll teach different coaches that I work with to start doing this, and they'll put like one slide up. Here's how this happened. No one really cares, right? No one really cares. We need to give a wee bit more than that on slide 1. We need to let them read it and go, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what this is about. And then move on to slide 2. The purpose of slide 2 is to give a bit more away, but build on that curiosity from slide 1. By the time they're on slide 3, they need to close the loop, right? So you've opened a loop, you've opened a story in that viewer's mind, and they're not just going to swipe off of your post by slide 3. Unless you close it, right? So keep the loop open, tell the story, take them on the journey through the story with you, get your personality across. They will then read this to the end, right? And that's when you can slap some super obvious CTAs on these posts and get people to take action off the back of them. So this does take practice, right? And again, like the coach at the start here that I was talking about, we'd been working on this, right? Again, this coach, this is something that we will be working on. It's something that I work on with all of the coaches that I work with, right? Because these do very, very well. So this post I'm going to show you here, right? That had 73,000 views. Again, not one of the highest performing. It had 248 likes, 7 comments, and 19 shares. This one here, which again, you can basically replicate these. Every single time I post this same post, it goes viral, right? And I think my caption for this post was roll on the Facebook comments, and it's still popping off on Facebook. There's people who are arguing with each other now on this post. So it's only going to push it further in terms of engagement. Now this has 1,308 likes, 961 comments, 8 shares, and 343,000 views at the time of posting this. I wouldn't be surprised if this got to 500,000 views and double the comments and way more likes by the time it's kind of finished doing its thing. So this one here is more of a kind of bog standard one, right? About how to go through this and how to tell these stories. So I will go through each slide and the purpose of each slide. So the grade A warrant. So obviously I was a cop for a long time, right? A grade A warrant is like your highest grade of warrant. So it's a bad person who's out of jail that needs to go back to jail, right? We used to get given these in the unit that I worked in. And that turned into a locus, which is basically a crime scene. And the other that nearly got me stabbed, right? So I'm using jargon. I'm using the jargon that's within my niche. I then went on to slide 2. See the grade A apprehension warrant, right? So if you're reading this one, the grade A warrant that turned into a locus and the other that nearly got me stabbed. Be like, oh, and the readers, I want to know about this. Again, 73,000 people wanted to know about this in depth. So second slide, again, build on the first slide, give them a little bit more, don't tell them exactly what it's about, right? So the grade A apprehension warrant, and bearing in mind, we still have this open loop here. So even once I've finished telling the first story, there's still another open loop here, right? With the second story about me getting stabbed or nearly getting stabbed. So the grade A apprehension warrant, which had landed in my queue. So we used to get given these, right? These are the 4 super bad people. You need to go and get them, right? Do what you need to do. Take who you need to take with you. So I went to her house, shouted in on the radio. Again, I was at the address. I could hear someone within the property and that I was going to force entry. Just as the gaffer, which again is your boss, shouted in, asking me to hold off, as it was a top floor flat and I should try ringing the doorbell first, right? Again, the logical step, but I just liked putting people's doors in. So I decided to go hinge side on the door just to completely take it off the hinges, and the door came straight off, right? So as he's shouting, yeah, mate, just hold off, door's already in, right? We're already in the house. Now, immediately, as I got into the address, I was in a bit of a pickle because she was there, but she was dead, lying on the sofa. So I couldn't really explain the noises that I'd been hearing to justify going into the house. And then I heard a pan fall in the kitchen, similar to the noises that I had heard before we went in. I almost shat my pants. I'd already cleared the house, but it was a tiny kitten looking for something to eat, right? So I gave it some water and played with the kitten until CID turned up, which took fucking ages as usual. So again, this one, it's just building that relationship, right? It's getting my sense of humour across. It's a drugs death, warrant cleared, and a little kitten saved. So I've closed that first story. People have read it. It was decent. They got a wee laugh from it. And then they're still needing to try and close this loop about the stabbing incident. The next one could have gone south very quickly. A murderer who wasn't long out the pokey. And bear in mind, I've not just went, here's exactly what happened, right? I'm building this story up. A murderer who wasn't long out the pokey, on licence. And again, pokey is just one of the stupid words that I would use, right? So again, it lets people get to know me with the way that I write things. Licence revoked. So again, a lot of times if you've killed someone, you will be on licence, life licence. So if you do anything, you basically end up straight back in jail. So he had his licence revoked for assaulting someone the previous week, right? I can't really remember, but I'm sure he slapped a man outside his flat. I'm sure that was what happened, like a gas engineer, something like that. So me and my neighbour, the guy that I worked with, we went to jail him. So he had his licence revoked. Look, he's a horrible bastard. You need to go and get him. Cool. We went up to get him. But he was super, super nice when we got there. Oh, hello, officers. Come on in. He was super friendly. Almost like the Spidey senses start tingling because I'm like, this guy's too friendly because he knows he's going straight back to jail. That's why we're there. So he did look a bit like Hagrid, right? So I'm building up this image in these people's minds, talking about Harry Potter, Hagrid, bald but with a handlebar mustache. So again, it's building this story up. He was an old school bad guy, right? And he was an older guy. So we followed him down the hall into his living room, at which point he sprang into action and grabbed this huge fucking knife, which was randomly stuck in the wall. Easy access, I guess. Now, thankfully, we both clocked it in that moment we entered. We knew what he was going for, so we were right behind him and quickly pulled it out the wall as it was quickly taken off him. So he basically pulled out the wall, we took it off him, and then we just had a big scrap in his house, right? And then he went, do you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go to jail. Take me in. He had a wee bit of fun and adrenaline from it. We even gave him a cigarette, right? So again, it's the way that we used to do things more so. So he shouted, right, I'm ready. Take me in. We stopped all having this big rammy. We let him smoke a cigarette and again, took him into custody essentially. So then I've went on to the pain points, right? So I've told these two stories. I've built it up. You never know what's going to happen when you turn up to a call or go to execute a warrant, right? A lot of times it's going to go tits up. It will go tits up. You're dealing with the worst people who know that they are going straight back to jail for a long time. You're dealing with bad people who don't want to go to jail. They know fine well that when it goes to court for police assault, it'll be getting dropped. Again, so that's me saying the things on social media that a lot of my audience can't say. So again, I'm like the voice of these people, right? Because we get assaulted all the time and it doesn't get reported or it doesn't get convicted in court at all, right? Because they just don't give a fuck. So, not only for your safety, but the safety of your colleagues, you need to be strong, capable, and confident getting into these situations. If you're ready to make a change, DM me the word shift and we can have a chat. Cop Lives Matter, right? Super basic post, couple of storytelling posts, very, very clear call to action. If you're ready to make that change and turn into this cop or paramedic, whatever it may be that you know you can be, this is exactly what you need to do. Message me this and we can have a chat. Super basic, right? That's what I want you to go away and basically do in your content today, right? See if you can combine this with the other training that I've done. I'll link this at the end. If you can combine this with your stories on social media, you will get way more clients, like your actual story posts, right? Again, if you do want one-to-one help with this, click the link in the description of this video. I'll pin it in the first comment as well. You can book in for a call with myself and work out what you need to work out about my mentoring service if you want to come and work with myself. And if you do want the full training on selling through stories, I've got the complete video breakdown. That's probably one of my most viewed videos. Like, people have messaged me off the back of that being like, mate, this is an absolute banger. This helped massively. So I'll put the link up here somewhere. You can click on that and watch that just now. If you do have any questions, shoot them over to me. Stay safe and I'll speak to you soon.